Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Avnesh Gulati, the moderator for this webinar. Welcome to the webinar Be More Dynamic presented by Redington and Direction Software LLP. Through this webinar, we would like to take you through the offerings and demonstration of the business management solution built on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central that provides you actionable insights and helps reduce your business cost and increase your overall efficiency to help your business outperform. The webinar will be divided into two sessions, 45 minutes of presentation followed by 15 minutes of Q&A. At the onset, a few ground rules. During the presentation, all the participants will be on the listen-only mode. During the presentation, if participants have any questions, they can use the Teams chat facility to send the questions to the host and the panelist. We will address the questions during the Q&A session. Also, please note, the session is being recorded and it will be shared with you post the webinar. The speakers for this session are Ms. Shalini Chainani, Mr. Biju Kurup, and Mr. Deepak Motwani. Shalini is the head of sales and business development, having more than 17 years of experience in combined skill set in sales and business development, marketing and branding, building partner alliances, team management, managing profitability, client relationship management, client servicing, and enhancing customer retention. Biju is the head of Dynamic 365 Business Central, Dynamics Navision, at Direction Software. He has been a part of the Direction Software for almost 16.5 years and has a total of experience of 25 plus years in the tech industry. He assists his clients to solve their real life problems and overcome their day-to-day challenges by developing effective technology-driven solutions for them. Deepak is the principal function consultant at Direction Software and has 10 plus years of experience in the implementation of Dynamics ERP. He has also worked with Arcom, Gillette, ITC, and Metal Toys in his career span of 20 plus years and has expertise in different business domains, including distribution and trade. Now, I would like to invite Shalini. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Avnesh. Thank you for a wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar today. And we'll take it forward from here. I've been a part of Direction team for more than 14 years into the dynamic solution space. So I'll just give you a quick snippet about our company and move on to the Dynamics ERP presentation. So Direction started off in 1999. We were into the business solution space since then and were working on Navision much before Microsoft had taken over. In 2002, when Microsoft took over, we were one of the partners, I would say the foremost partners in the business solution space, managing the ERP, CRM, and the Power Solutions for Microsoft. We have been in the Microsoft space for more than 20 years now. We have a customer base not only in the domestic, but also in the international market. And just to give a snippet again of our customers, so it's the customers worldwide that we have serviced, and it's been in the real estate, hospitality, retail, media, NBFC, professional services. So we have been very fortunate being with so much association with Microsoft. We have got and managed customers not just into one industry vertical, but have expanded into many business vertical as well. Our CEO, Mr. Arun Nair, strongly believes in the customer servicing and retention. So we've been, I would say, as a partner, we have not just looked at a domain, but just serviced our customers, and customers have been with us for more than 20 years since we have started this association with Microsoft. Today here, what we are going to pick and show you is an overview of Business Central. So not of people know about Business Central, but earlier it was a Navision product based by a Denmark company. Microsoft took over the product in 2002 and rebranded as NAV. And in 2018, Microsoft rebranded it as Business Central. Business Central has been a milestone release by Microsoft, which not just caters to the on-premise, but the entire cloud motion that Microsoft has to offer on the digital transformation. So it just not just an isolated ERP, it's an all-in-one solution which covers all the modules and also talks to your Power Platform, third-party solutions, and CRM solutions as well. So looking here, what you see is the journey of Microsoft. It's been here in the 31 years of space on the ERP, having more than 150 installation and has been sold worldwide. So it's not just India. We are talking about the worldwide and global implementation that Business Central has to offer on the table. And what you see here is a roadmap that Microsoft has here, because Microsoft truly believes in Business Central and the way forward with the software that we have here today. This is just an overview of the modules that are available in Business Central. So it caters to your financial, project management, your operations management, sales, supply chain, and overall the analytics part of it. So what we see here today, that Business Central just does not cover to your small businesses, but also caters to medium size and enterprise organizations. It is just all about managing the fitment of the organization and to the application, and it could be scalable to the extent that you want it to achieve. What here we have is the skill set and direction. Like I mentioned earlier and by Avnish, that we have been in the solution space for the last 20 years. So we started our journey with Microsoft NAV, Navision to NAV to Business Central. So we have seen the entire journey from the CAL to the AI programming, and we have not just handled the product implementations, but we have serviced our customers from implementation to upgrade and migration. So we still have our customers who had implemented NAV 2009, whom we have migrated to 2016, to 2013 and to Business Central. So as a company, we have covered the consulting part of it to implementation to upgrade and migration. And moving forward, we have also taken support services with our customers. This is just an overview of the customers that we have worked upon, managed, implemented, upgrade, and managed support services on the Business Central NAV front. And these are our customers worldwide. So this is my most favorite and the important slide, which I always like to speak about, that why direction and why Business Central as a proposition. So direction as a company, like I said, has got a lot of domain expertise in managing and working in various verticals. So we take utmost pride in saying that Navision, NAV, or Business Central has been a perfect fitment for all the industries that we have worked upon. We have never as such faced any challenge that tomorrow a customer has said that we have failed, which has never come across in this last 20 years or my 14 years of association with direction. We have expertise in dealing the entire implementation to the upgradation to managing the financial management or project management module for that matter, as we have the certified skill set in-house, and as a company we have proven success ratio 20% growth on the Dynamics business as well. So right here, what we want to do is we want to showcase the demonstration of Business Central, where we want to complement and show the product that we are talking about and how it works fine for not only our customers, and can look forward to the people on the call to look at the Business Central application for your businesses as well. So I would hand over the presentation to my colleague, Mr. Biju, to take it forward from here. Thank you so much, everyone.
Meanwhile, I would request all the participants, just in case if any questions, kindly put them across in the Teams chat facility, and we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalini. Once again, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to this session where we'll be showcasing the product from Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. What you're seeing on my screen is the dashboard of the product. Before we get into the details of it, I would like to give a brief about the product itself and the journey of Business Central till date. Of course, Shalini has already briefed about that. But just to re-highlight that, the product was established or developed in 1984, and since then has evolved in different names, PC Plus, Navision, and when Microsoft took over, it was Microsoft Dynamics NAV. And recently, Microsoft has rebranded it again as Dynamics 365 Business Central. Now, in this journey, I would like to highlight here is that how the product has evolved as different features. From a PC-based application, standalone application, it has moved to client-server architecture. And from there, it has moved to a 3-tier architecture. And now with Dynamics 365 Business Central, it's a completely cloud-enabled application which sits on top of Azure, managed by no, Microsoft completely. So that gives you an overview like how the product has adapted to different technologies time and again, at different point in time. So again, I would want to emphasize here is that from a DOS based application, when we talk about 1984, it was a DOS based application, and now it's Business Central is accessible to the users via web browsers, on tablets and mobile devices. So what you are seeing on the screen is a web client application on the web browser itself. All right. So having given that brief overview, let me start with the features of the product. What you see on the screen is a dashboard, and the first important aspect that I would want to highlight is that how have I logged into the application? I've logged in using my Microsoft O365 account. And once I have that, I can log in into the Business Central, which means that the application is a single sign-on enabled application. 2 point is that if I go to my settings, you'll see that I can have multi-company, multi-currency, multi-language, multi-region implementation. Along with that, what it gives me is a cloud storage which directly integrates with my OneDrive. So, any application or any document management that you want to attach with Business Central, that's possible using OneDrive integration. And also, when I talk about O365, I also want to quickly highlight one cool feature that sales team would definitely love to, is that I'm going to log in into my Outlook account. So if you see on my screen, it's an Outlook account here, and I can move here. One sec. What it allows you is that it directly integrates Business Central, and within the Outlook itself, your sales team can create sales code or sales orders, or for that matter of fact, if you are interacting with a vendor, you can interact by creating purchase invoice, credit notes, or purchase orders. So from Outlook, you can have these functionality accessed and the information captured, and interact with your external entities of your business. So that's how Business Central integrates with Office 365. To continue on that path, what I would like to also highlight here is that, again, if I'm going back to my settings, so there are different roles that Microsoft offers. As an organization, you might have procurement team, you might have finance team, you might have sales team who would want to access the application. So based on the different types of roles, you would see a lot of information that's displayed to you on the dashboard. All right, now on the dashboard itself, if you see that a lot of information straight away presented, like for example, what are your sales of your month? What are the overdue sales invoices? What are the overdue purchase invoices? Plus, what are ongoing sales transactions, be it in form of sales code orders or invoices, ongoing purchase invoices. So depending on the role that you select, because the role that I've selected is a more generic role, so it has got all the information here. But if depending on the roles, if it's a purchase role, you would see only the purchase side of it. If it's a sales role, you would see the sales side of it. So all the information is accessible at the fingertips for the user. So the moment I click from here, I can take directly into the transaction. So that's the power that the product offers. Now, also, if you see that it also gives you an integration with Azure with regards to bringing in the AI component. For example, based on the payment patterns that your organization follows, it creates insights into the payment cycle, and it predicts what is the kind of cash flow that the organization would require to manage. So that's an integration with AI itself directly from the Azure platform. One more cool feature that I want to highlight here is that scanning functionality, where you can scan documents from the system and directly integrate into Business Central. For example, if you get a purchase invoice in a PDF copy, you can scan that and attach it into Business Central. The second feature that I want to highlight is that straightaway integration with Office 365. You can see that an Outlook-like functionality has been given here. So you can send notifications from Business Central, different documents in form of your sales invoices, your purchase orders, all those communication that go from Business Central is tracked in the system. All the communication and an audit trail is maintained. It tells you how many communications have failed in, how many has gone through, and how many is still in queue. So it tracks the entire communication within Business Central to your external world. The next very key highlight point that I want to bring your attention to is that it has a lot of approval mechanisms in form of when it comes to the processes from purchase side, sales side, and of course from the financial side as well. So you can set out matrices, approval matrices, and based on the approval configuration that you do, unless the approvals are not done in the system, the user will not be able to process with the transaction going forward. So you have extensive approval management in different areas of the application. Now I want to come to the reporting side of it. What you see on the screen is some key KPIs that the product offers. For example, if you see, we have top 5 customers. We have and there are default KPIs that the product offers, be it in form of cash flow, income expense, aged account receivables, aged accounts payables, top 10 customers, my sales trends, different KPIs that is already inbuilt, and you can use that. And of course, on top of that, if there are any specific KPIs that needs to be developed for your organization, even that is possible. Again, this being a finance role, I can embed a mini trial balance onto my dashboard itself, giving me complete financial health of my organization straight away when I log in into the application. The next important functionality is that a report inbox. Now, what report inbox lets you do is that any reports that is there in Business Central can be scheduled automatically within the application on a predefined schedule, and the system will run that report and submit it in the inbox, so that the user, when then logs in, can straight away see the report and run the report. For example, if I go here, searched aged accounts receivable, that's one of the very popular reports with financial team. If I click on that, so if you see, there is when I run the report, I can definitely take it into PDF. I can definitely integrate with Word. I can definitely integrate with Excel. And also there is an ability to schedule the report. So when I schedule the report, it lets me that what is the output format that needs to be run, what are the frequency on which the report needs to be run, and what is the date and time on which the report needs to run. The system would run that report and make it ready when the user logs in. All right, so that's a brief overview of the dashboard and the key features in the Business Central. Now, continuing on the reporting side, I would want to highlight one more very important area with regards to reporting is integration of Power BI. So you can integrate Power BI reports directly into Business Central. So if organization has a Power BI account, you can design Power BI report using Business Central data, and then based on that, you can directly embed the Power BI reports into the dashboard so that the user can access and analyze the financial data or the operations data using Power BI. So it's a very powerful feature Business Central offers. Okay, continuing on that, there are a set of reports that is already available within Business Central. I would like to show you that. So what you are seeing is a list of reports that is by default standard provided by Microsoft. Just want to quickly highlight on the purchasing side, you have purchase analysis where you do your vendor analysis based on the procurement that you would have done. You have vendor trial balances, vendor statements, vendor aging, and further going forward, you have inventory related reports, inventory aging by quantity, by value, inventory valuation report, item registers. These are some of the standard reports that are already available in the system. Similarly, when we are looking at the manufacturing side of it, you have shortages, item shortages for the production planning. The system generates. On the financial side, of course, the financial statement, be it in form of trial balance, be it in form of consolidated cash flow, be it in form of P&L, all those things are standard out of box that is available. A very powerful treasury management application where you can do your cash flow analysis, your bank reconciliations, all those functionalities are there. Definitely cost accounting. Now, one of the key use case that I've come across a lot of time is that when we are doing a statutory reporting, organization wants reporting to be done on the for the internal MIS purposes. Now, how do we do that? Because when you're doing a statutory reporting, the internal MIS could be different from what has been projected as your statutory. So here you have a module called cost accounting, where you can create your cost centers, your cost objects, and analyze and allocate automatically all your financial transaction. And based on that, you can do your internal reporting for your organization or your leadership. Of course, when it comes to payable, you have vendor balances, vendor aging. These are standard reports. From a fixed asset standpoint, you have fixed asset book value, fixed asset registers. These are standard reports that are available in the system. Of course, in the area of project, you have WIP, job WIP creation, and different milestones based on the project that you want to track. You can do that. Actual budget versus actuals. When you're dealing with project accounting, you can do that. And of course, on the sales side, you have customer aging, customer registers, customer statements. These are all standard out-of-box functionality that is available. Now, one more thing I would want to highlight here from a reporting standpoint is that how reports can be developed by the businesses on their own. So you have report layouts. So here, if you see, So there are different types of report layouts that can be managed here. You can use RDLC. RDLC is a format provided by Microsoft where you can write. It's a report writer tool. So if you are proficient, if your IT team is proficient to write reports in RDLC, you can do that. And also what the system gives you the flexibility is that you can also create reports using Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, so that the power that the product allows you is that business users or internal organization really does not depend upon, need not depend upon the partners to create your reporting requirements. Users can do that. The product has been enabled with functionality where you can create your own reports and attach it to your application. So that covers the technology side from a reporting standpoint. So I'm now going to move into the financial area and highlight some of the key functionalities from a finance standpoint. So if you look at for finance, the heart of any finance is definitely chart of accounts. I'm not going to get into the details of that. You can have your chart of accounts structured the way you want. The system is very flexible to accommodate the chart of account structure the way the organization wants to design that. But on top of that, what the system also has capability is that you can have further classify into category on or subcategories. So what the advantage there is that not only you have your chart of account structure, whereby of course that gives you your trial balance reporting straight away, but you can also do a subclassification further to your reporting requirements using subcategory. So let me just quickly show you that. I'm going to account category. Let me just minimize this. So you see that as a user, you can define your own account category structures. So here, as part of the demo company, what I've structured is that asset being classified as under current asset, fixed asset, and so on and so forth. And based on that, I have grouped within current asset, I've grouped cash, accounts receivable, prepaid expenses. And based on that, further, I have consolidated my chart of account to each group, which tells me my financial health, in a consolidated way. All right. Now, next tool that I want to introduce is Dimensions. Now, Dimensions is a very powerful tool that system allows you to do slice and dice in finance world. Definitely, people from finance world definitely would relate to it more in form of cost centers and profit centers. So you can analyze your organization's transactions, be it in form of cost centers or in form of profit centers. So you can define these structures, and within that you can have a tree-like configuration where here I've taken area as a dimension, and within area these are my tree-like structure. Within Europe I can have multi-level information configured so that I can slice and dice my data accordingly. So dimensions are very powerful, and the advantage with dimension is that you can attach it with different entities like your customers, vendors, your chart of accounts, so that when the transactions are booked in, automatically the information or the dimension values flows in, and you can later analyze your transactions accordingly. The third very powerful reporting tool in the financial world is account schedules. I have experienced that most of the uh, finance stakeholders or managers love this tool uh, in the product, because it's a framework where it gives you the ability to create your reports on your own. What it allows you is that you can define your report. For example, I'm going to take this example here, a small mini income statement, right? So it's like an Excel-like framework. I'm sure all the finance users who are there in this session would agree that, Excel gives you a lot of reporting flexibility. So if you look at Excel, what it allows you is that you can define your rows, and that's exactly what account schedule also lets you do that. So here we have defined a mini P&L here. So I have defined my rows, my total revenue, total goods sold, my operating cost, non-operating cost, and then what my gross profit is or net earnings are. So I can define that. So this is how I would define. So I can say that what is it, where the data has to be picked from, which GL code. If there are formulas, I can define my formulas. If you see on the extreme right, there are formatting capabilities that I can do. And then, of course, how the data needs to be brought in. Is it net change, balance to date, beginning balances? So it gives you a lot of flexibility when it comes to defining the tool that you want. Further to that, you can also set up your column structure. So you can again define the column structure here. So it's basically what we have done here is that we have done a month-on-month comparison on the column. So the P&L that I'm going to create, I'm going to evaluate it a month-on-month basis. So this is 6 months, this is 5 months, this is 4 months. So it gives me a flexibility to define the columns as well. So I can define n number of column layouts. So it's in the combination of the row layout and the column layout that you're going to run the report. So I'm just going to quickly show how the report output would look like. So I go overview. So you see that I have my P&L created here. So this is my period to period comparison. So, it's a very powerful tool where I have defined, the user can define the row level layout. It can define the column layout, layout, and the matrix is created for you. Once you have created the report, definitely you can filter based on different parameters, on date, on week, month. So all those parameters are available for you. And like I mentioned, if you are looking at your P&L and if you say that you want to do a project-wise P&L or a cost center-wise P&L or a profit center-wise P&L, even that's possible. And also what it gives you is a capability to again export that into Excel, where you can again analyze that further if you want. Right, so that covers the reporting side of it. I'm further going to deep dive into the financial area quickly. In the financial area, definitely the financial world would start with the budgeting at the start of the year, so you can define your budgets within the system. When you define the budget, I've made a sample budget here. So when you're defining the budget, so on the left hand side, you see your chart of accounts, and you can define it based on the periods or based on the cost centers, or if you have a project driven organization, you can have your budgets defined based on your projects as well. So once you have defined your project, so once you have defined the structure, not only it facilitates defining the budget, but also the mechanism or through the budget process. For example, what it lets you is that it lets you export the entire budget into Excel so that the entire budget creation process can happen within that Excel based the format that Business Central has provided to you. Once the entire budget has been consolidated, you can re-import that into back into Business Central, where it stays as a finalized budget. Now, what it lets you do is that it can, based on the transactions you do, it lets you do a comparison between budget and actual, so that you can at any point in time do a variance analysis. Further in the finance standard functionalities, like I'm not going to go too much into it, but definitely I want to highlight few things. General journals. So these are all very standard functionality any accounting packages would have. So you can define your journals here, where you have your accounting adjustments. You can define templates. What you can also do is that you can create transactions straight away from Excel and paste it in here, and post the transaction. So it lets you increase your productivity of your accounting team a lot. what you can also see is that it lets you do a preview posting where before you actually post the transaction, you can check the impacts in the system, and then you can post that. Along with journals, of course, from in the finance world, definitely you would want to create provisions or maintain your recurring expenses. That can be done using recurring um, journals. So here, what the product offers is that you can have fixed recurring journals. For example, if it's a rent expense that you want to book month on month, you can use a fixed journal. If it's a utility bill that you want to book on a month on month, for example, water utility, electricity bills, you can use a variable. If you are doing a provisioning type of transactions, you can use a reversing journal so that at the end of the month, you can book the provisions and text at the beginning of the next month, it will automatically reverse it for you. So those kind of facilitation also the system allows you to do that. Needless to say, it caters to Indian taxation, GST, TDS, TCS, all as and when the tax rules are updated by Indian government, Microsoft is prompt to apply those patches and release that for Business Central. So that covers at a high level the finance side of it. I'm going to quickly get into the operations side of it. The first area that I would want to touch upon is the procure to pay cycle. On a procure to pay cycle, you can definitely define your vendor onboarding process. Your products can be configured in the system using your item master. You can also configure your planning parameters on those items. For example, your reorder points, safety stock, all those things can be configured. And based on that, you can run your requisition planning. So you have requisition worksheet here. So what requisition worksheet lets you do is that it generates a plan for you. Once looking at different parameters of the inventory position, be it quantity on hand, the safety stock, the demand that is there in the system, and the supply that is there. Based on that, whatever is the shortage, it would recommend that shortage, and then you can straight away create purchase orders from the planning worksheet. So that is a key feature into the procurement cycle. And from there, of course, you can also create purchase. If you receive any purchase codes from your vendor, you can straight away create purchase codes in here. And from purchase codes, you can create purchase orders. So there are multiple ways that you can manage purchase orders. Once the purchase order is created in the system, it also allow, like I mentioned when the start of my session, you can set out your approval matrix. If you require approval engagement there, you can do that. Once the purchase order is approved, you can send your purchase orders straight away to your vendors straight from the Business Central. It integrates with your Outlook, and the copy of the purchase order is sent to the customer. Now, again, when you're looking at the purchase orders, you can do your GRNs and multiple GRNs, invoices, and procure to pay. And of course, then I would also quickly want to touch upon is a reconciliation. One of the abilities where you can, if you are an organization where most of the payments are done using direct bank debits, you can use payment reconciliation where you have the ability to import the bank statement straight into the application. And what you can set out rules where, based on the bank statement, the system would automatically read that, understand that, and link it with the vendor invoices. So that's a very cool feature that the product offers. Similar to the procurement cycle, the system also does your order to cash. You can create sales quotes, sales orders can be created, and from sales orders, you can dispatch materials, services, and invoices can be generated from the system. Again, I would want to highlight one more key feature here is that there is a customer register customer payment. So where you the system what automatically recommends what are the invoices which have become due, and it brings in here on the screen, and all you have to tell the system is that what has been received, and that's a very cool feature where when it comes to the productivity of your collections team or your AR team. So the system, you don't have to key in a lot of information. The system recommends that for you. Now, I would quickly touch upon the manufacturing side of it. Manufacturing, it has got manufacturing capabilities. So I would start with, again, the planning worksheet. So when you're on the planning worksheet, what it lets you do is that based on uh, um, the orders that the manufacturing policy that you have, it could be based on make to stock or make to order. The demand is automatically generated. So if it's a make to stock, you can have your forecast set in the system. So that's the capability that the system has. And if it's make to order sales, it would read the sales orders and generate the demand for you. So what it lets you do is that it runs the MPS as a master production schedule and the MRP. It'll run the MRP. You can do your planning window. What is the planning window? And you can choose your forecast if it's a make to stock policy that you have. And if there are specific items that you just want to plan, you can filter those things, and it will let you, recommend the planning for you. Based on that, you can implement or enforce those planning whereby the system would create. If it's an MRP, the system will let you create the purchase orders. If it's a production, it will let you create the production orders. I'm just quickly going to the production orders. So system has got the ability to create production orders in the system, and it tracks what are the different components that are required. So components could be, if you're following a discrete manufacturing process, it could be your BOM, or if you're following a process driven manufacturing process, it could be your recipe. You can define your components. So this is a multi-level BOM that the system would read and create production orders based on the MPS that is run. And also it lets you track the routing. So different stages of the production process, you can define that, and based on that, it lets you plan what is the start time and what is the end time that the production needs to go through. And based on that, you can execute your consumption as well as outputs for your inventory. So that closes the and what it also lets you do is, if I go here, it has also got the capability to do your capacity planning. Work center. If I go to the work center page, just bear with me. So I can define different work centers, okay? And within the work centers, I can define what is the cost associated with that, which will increase, which will basically include into my production. And then it lets me choose the calendar. So if I have shop calendar, I can set my shop calendars, and then, and of course the efficiency of that particular machine and the capacity. So based on this, the system would have a capacity planning, done for you for your production cycle. So that's in nutshell on the production capabilities. Let me quickly change role here so that I can show you one more capability of the product which caters to the after sales market. So it has asked me to log in. All right, so coming back to the homepage, so I've changed my role to a service management profile. So you can see that suddenly all those information that was there is not appearing because this is more service manager role. So within service management, what it lets me do is that it lets me create service contracts. I can do a service quote and then I can do a service contracts. What the service contracts, it could be your AMC or your warranty contracts. You can do that, and then you can say identify what are the different equipments that form part of the service management, who the customer is, and of course, what is your billing cycle? What is the contract value? What is your billing frequency, whether it is monthly, quarterly, and half yearly or annually that you would want to bill? So it has got that capability to create the service contracts. Along with the service contracts, you can also create, of course, you can create ad hoc services. You can generate a sales code, and then from a sales code, you can have a service order created. So I'll just quickly show you one of the sales orders, or service orders, sorry. So on a service order, I can select the customer to whom I'm providing the services. And the equipment, I can select the equipment on which the services have to be produced, provided. And then I can track what is the complaint. I can track what is the fault. I can track what is the resolution for that service. And then also in the service worksheet, which is basically nothing but your job card, I can have my consumption, my service engineer's time, my cost, or any other overheads that I want to book. I can do that, and then generate a service invoice based on the service orders that has been created. So that covers in nutshell the capability of Business Central. I know with a limited amount of time, it will not be possible to cover all the features that is there in the product, but I've tried my best. But what we have seen in this session is that what is the capability from a technology standpoint? It's a very superior product. It's up to the mark, latest technology that is available in form of Azure cloud services, AI integration, of Office integration with Excel, Outlook integration. Got powerful reporting capabilities, and it also caters to the operational areas, automation of operational process and your financial requirements. So these are the product. These are the reasons why the product is so popular, and not only within Indian customer but globally. So and that's the reason why the product is really popular in the space, and the customers go for choose Business Central over the other products that are available in this space. So that covers my session, and I would be more than happy to answer any queries that the team has.
Thank you so much for your time. I think it was a wonderful session, and we've been having a lot of questions that have been coming in. I would request, I think since Deepak was also answering certain questions, and Shalini was also answering, is there any questions probably which has been left and you would like to answer in the Q&A session? I could see one or two.
Am I audible, Avnish?
Shalini, yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just going through the QA session, and most of the queries that people had was, what is Navision, what is Business Central, and why should we upgrade? And a lot of people also wanted to ask that Nav 2016 has the same features, so why Business Central? So I would like to just break down these questions that we had. So what we're talking about Business Central, which is a successor version of Microsoft Dynamics NAV. So Business Central is a part of the entire Dynamics 365 product suite, which talks about the entire cloud motion and the digital transformation. So it's a one-stop solution which talks to your Power Platform, which talks to your CRM, as well as it's all integrated an ERP system that you see on the screen here. To answer the question why you should upgrade, Microsoft has a lifecycle policy where you have the initial 5 years of mainstream support and the rest of the 5 years for the extended support. In the extended supports that Microsoft supports is only on the product security part of it. It will not cover any of the new product features or enhancements that has been released by the product that will not come into play. So as we understand, NAV 2016 is end of life for the mainstream support, and Microsoft stopped supporting back into April 2021. So the reason why you should upgrade is because tomorrow if there are new features upgrade or if there are any statutory requirement that come into play, you will not be getting that feature available in the product. So that's where Business Central migration is important. Secondly, the entire ecosystem, not just your software, but also your hardware, entire ecosystem has to talk to each other. So it's very important that you are on the updated platform. So all the systems or integrations, in case if you have any third-party application. So everything talks and in sync together with the entire ecosystem. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, Shalini, we can hear you well.
Right.
Yes.
And last and the foremost, the most important part is the cost. The more you delay on the version upgrade, the more the gap on the versions, the higher the cost it is. So it is very important that you upgrade with the minimum time period or the version gaps that you have. And tomorrow, if you're going to be on cloud, you will not have to upgrade. It will only be an update. So Microsoft takes a downtime, and that's when you have to come back and tell Microsoft this is the day you want to update, and your existing implementation would be upgraded to the latest version that is available. Yes, you would need a partner on the certain requirements if there are certain custom business processes that we have built with the Business Central. You would need a support to move on those customizations on the cloud, but otherwise it's going to be an upgrade, not an upgrade anymore for you. Lastly, a lot of people wanted to ask about Power BI licensing. Dynamics 365 is the entire solution suite. So where you have your M365, which has your Office licenses, you have your OneDrive, Teams licenses, and then you have your Power Platform, which covers your Power Apps and Power BI licenses. And then you have your D365, which has your CRM, your ERP solutions. All this is module based. So whichever module you want to use, you need to procure the licenses and it is available per user per month. And you can sync all of that together because it's a part of the same common data platform and the same ecosystem. So tomorrow it could start from an email to get onto your core system and solution to your analyticals, which is your Power BI. I hope I have answered all the questions in the QA. Is there something else would somebody like to raise or discuss with us?
I think we have. Okay, Mr. Gizos is replying. I think these are good enough, is what we've got to know. Mr. Mehul Panchal would like to ask a question. Mr. Mehul, could you please put in your question here, in the chat window? Can I just give me 1 second? Mr. Mehul, you can actually unmute yourself if you want and ask the question, just in case you raise your hand. You can unmute yourself, please. Okay. Meanwhile, Shalini, I think there's an issue with Mr. Panchal. There's another question that we have here from Mr. Rakesh Patil. He's about the development environment.
Should I just take it up?
Yes, please. This question you can take up.
Business Central Cloud provides you a sandbox environment that will be covered. So you have 3 sandbox environments, and the Business Central Cloud subscription, it's included with it.
Thank you. And I think there's just one last question that we can take up before we end. I think Mr. Vipin Kumar has replied to. Okay, I think thanks, Rakesh ji, we've got the answer. Mr. Vipin Kumar has replied to Deepak's answer, saying it means it will not pass the GL entries before finished. Is what the question is.
Yeah, it will pass the GL entry of COGS with the last cost which is there on the item card, but it will do a correction entry once the production order is finished, if there is any variation in the latest production cost.
Thank you so much. I think we are good with the questions right now. I would request anyone, if there are any further questions, I put the email IDs in the chat window. Kindly send across the questions to the email IDs. And with that, I would also like to thank the team for taking out time for this webinar. We would also like to mention Direction Software would be more than happy to assist you for a one-on-one demo for the solution. And we will be sharing the contact details with all the attendees after the webinar. So with this, we conclude the webinar. Thank you so much for your participation and look forward to interacting with you further. Have a very pleasant afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all.